What's going on, everybody? Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be going over the 3 best nutrition tips that you obviously need to have if you want to have success on your fat loss journey. And plus, I'm going to be giving you guys a bonus tip at the very end, okay? So, let's dive right in. Let's cut right to the chase. So, the first nutritional tip that you need to understand is calories, okay? Now, I'm speaking to a camera right now, so it's going to be completely different, right? And I really hope that you guys understand, like, when it comes down to understanding calories, it's very hard unless myself as a coach can at least see and understand some data. When people apply for coaching, I get to know everything: their height, their weights, sleeping habits, their occupation, training habits, like what they're currently eating, all these different variables to come into play to then help them with what specific calories to give them. And then guess what? After seeing them, become a client and, track everything in the Heartletics app and, stick with what nutritional advice that we give for that specific person, it's very easy to see, okay, how is their body adjusting? How is their metabolism adapting? And what kind of adjustments to make from there. So, the best way that I can give you help, right, as far as understanding a little bit about calories is this. Imagine, right, there's 2 different types of people. And let's say person A and person B, they're exactly the same in a few different variables, okay? They're both 250 pounds, 50 years old, and let's say they're both 30% body fat, okay? And so that's it, right? The 3 different variables that are very much the same, okay? Once again, 50 years old, 250 pounds, 30% body fat. Now, person A over here, let's say they're both sedentary jobs, both sedentary. So one person's, let's just say they're both, right, engineers. Okay, they're sitting down all day, right, computer engineers, something like that. So, person A, let's say that they're actually just constantly eating, right? Maybe like 4, 5, 6,000 calories, just nonstop eating, right? Junk food, fast food, beer, alcohol, all this stuff, right? Just nonstop. And let's say person B, okay, and this is realistically, I really hope you guys listen to this, realistically where most guys fall into play. They hear about calories in versus calories out, okay? And like both people have tried like keto, they've tried fasting, they've tried Weight Watchers, Noom, all this stuff, right? Person A, person B, they tried all these different things. They've both been struggling for, let's say, 5, 10 years trying to burn body fat. It's always the same. Lose weight, gain weight, the yo-yo effect, right? But person B over here, they're eating, let's say, 1,500 calories, okay? So you got person A, right, in this corner that's eating all this junk food, eating all this crap, and they're eating, let's just say, like 5,000 calories, okay? Remember, they're 250 pounds. They're 30% body fat, right? They are, 50 years old, sedentary, right, as far as their occupation goes. And then person B over here, same thing, 50 years old, 30% body fat, 250 pounds, right, sedentary as far as their occupation goes, but they're eating 1,500 calories, okay? You're probably wondering, like, okay, how is that even possible, okay? Metabolism. Somebody is overeating and they're going to need basically a calorie deficit to bring them down into play to where, hey, they are, not eating as much. It's going to be way easier for them to burn body fat as long as they don't eat enough. Or as long as they're not eating as much as they have been eating before. So if let's say they're eating 5,000 calories, they're 250 pounds, hey, drop their calories down. You always want to start things off small. Right? So maybe just drop their calories down to, 4,000 calories, right? Still pretty high, honestly, for that person's body type, but still, just the awareness of dropping their calories, and more awareness of what they're putting into their mouths might be enough to at least start, right, in the right direction with helping that person lose weight. Okay? That's person A. Now, person B, who's eating 1,500 calories, they're actually going to need what's called a reverse diet because this person believes it's calories in versus calories out, and they're eating next to nothing, right? So they're not getting enough calories. Remember, food equals fuel, right? You got to put sometimes gas in the car to get it from point A to point B. You got to do the same thing with your body, plain and simple. And so if they're not getting enough protein even, right, their body's going to start losing some of that muscle. And that's what's going to slow down their metabolism. That's ultimately what's going to lead to that, body fat percentage to increase, even though they're eating next to nothing. Shocking, right? So I always tell everybody, don't believe everything you hear on the internet, right? Stop believing it's just calories in versus calories out. It's not. Like anybody that's a registered dietitian, anybody that's a nutritionist is going to educate you, at least they should. That's what my job is, to educate you on how nutrition actually works in the body and how fat loss works in the body, and that's something that guys just don't still to this day understand, They cut out their carbs. They think all of a sudden just because the number on the scale goes down, they're losing all this weight, right? They're losing all this body fat. No. Like just because it's number on the scale going down, don't equate that to losing body fat. Carbs store water. If you're cutting out your carbs, you're not holding on to some water. That's water loss, okay? If you also are doing intermittent fasting and calories in versus calories out, okay, and eating next to nothing, just because you see the number on the scale go down doesn't mean that you're losing body fat. Hey, it could mean that you're actually losing muscle. And that could be realistically what's slowing down your metabolism and why your body fat percentage is so high, even though you're eating next to nothing, just like this person over here. So with them, they're going to need a reverse diet, And so at the end of the day, it's very hard for me, and the reason why I'm sharing that is because it's very hard for me to speak to a camera broad, right, and just tell you guys, oh, here's what you should know about calories. Here's how to do things specifically for you, because I don't know who I'm talking to. Now, I will say this, in one of the episodes coming here in the near future, we will be doing a deep dive, a PowerPoint presentation going over everything about calories for our clients. And I'm actually going to record that, and I'm going to share that with you guys as well on the podcast. So make sure when that episode airs, make sure to go to my YouTube channel, Heartletics, subscribe. That way you never miss any notifications, and that way you guys can check out that video because it's going to be very informative. I'm very excited about making that because I think it's going to help out a lot of people because not everybody's created equal. Everybody has different body types. And that's something that we preach about all the time at Heartletics. And so I'm now going to give you guys some really good advice when it comes down to calories, okay? And stop trying to go to, Google and go to these calorie calculators because they don't know how many days a week, you're training. They don't know the type of energy that you're using. They don't know about your occupation. They don't know about your stress. They don't know about your eating habits. They don't know about any of that stuff, right? It's just numbers that spit you out even more numbers. Realistically, if you happen to go to a calorie calculator online, they're probably going to spit you out a bunch of numbers that's way higher than what you're eating now. Because most guys that apply for our coaching program, they eat next to nothing. And this is why we always focus on a reverse diet to get their metabolism back up to speed. So that way they can learn how to put on lean muscle tissue and burn body fat at the same time. Body recomposition. So with that being said, calories. Now let's really deep dive into this. If you don't know, right, how many calories you should be eating, let's just make this very, very simple for you, okay? Download an app that you can easily track your calories on. The people that sign up for Heartletics, they obviously use our app because, hey, it's all right there inclusive, right? You have your workouts, it's all personalized for you with instructional videos. You have the food tracker. You have the barcode scanner that you can scan in your food and save your meals. And, Coach Mark goes over a deep dive with this on his onboarding calls with everybody to make sure it's so easy and effortless, right? But if you're not a client, guess what? There's other apps like the Lose It app. There's MyFitnessPal. There's probably hundreds of different, nutrition food logging apps that you can use. And all I want you to do is just start logging everything that you eat on a consistent basis. That's it. And this is probably the best way to kind of figure out where you stand, all right, is let's say just Monday through Sunday, all right? And I don't require people to weigh in every day, but for at least for this, you're going to need to, okay? Because you want to take the average. So weigh in every single morning, first thing in the morning. Wake up, go to the bathroom, weigh in, all right? Log that somewhere. Hey, Monday, you're this weight. Hey, Tuesday, you're this weight. Wednesday, you're this weight. Log that somewhere. And then with the food logger, it's the same thing. Track everything that you're eating. Every single day, track everything that you put in your mouth, right? Even the liquid calories, right? Apple juice, orange juice, beer, pop, whatever the case may be, that's calories. Make sure you're holding that self accountable, right? Don't just say, oh, it's not actual food. I'm not eating it, right? Like I'm not, chewing it. It's still calories. It still counts. So understand that and track everything. And then what I want you to do is just take the average. So take your weight, okay? And then just take the average of the 7 days and find out your average. And then take all your food logs, right? And take the average of that. So that we can see on average, how much do you weigh, right? And how much food that you're consuming on average, all right? If let's just say, and this is where it gets really hard because once again, it's not just calories in versus calories out. I can't just say eat less than that the following week because it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Sometimes you need to make adjustments elsewhere. Like, for example, you might need to increase your calorie intake if you're not eating enough. And then you might need to also just, hey, focus on eating more protein, which we're going to get next into the next step here. And so when it comes down to having your average for your calories, I would say it's like this, all right? If you take your current body weight and you multiply it by 0.8, that's like the bare minimum grams of protein that you need. If you see in there that, okay, hey, if let's say the bare minimum grams of protein that I need is like 200 grams of protein, okay, and you're not eating nowhere near that, don't just think realistically, oh, I should just eat 200 grams of protein and have zero carbs, zero fats. That's not a balanced diet. That's not how it works. That's not optimal at all. It's not sustainable. So figure out just what works best for you, if that makes sense. Honestly, like, I wish I can give you better information and better advice, but hopefully you're listening to this and saying like, man, this is actually a lot that goes into it, because there is a lot that goes into it. This is why I have a job. This is why I have an occupation. This is why there's hundreds of thousands of nutritionists out there and hundreds and thousands of registered dietitians out there, because this isn't some free information that you can just get and understand how to apply it all, because everybody's different. There's so many different variables. Once again, age, activity, occupation, stress, sleep, all these different things, right? Macronutrient profile, micronutrient profile. There's so many different things, once again. But at least you can get yourself a blanket understanding of, okay, hey, if I at least take the average of this, at least take the average of this, you should have a realization or realistic expectation to understand, hey, I'm 300 pounds and I'm eating 1,500 calories. I should probably eat some more food, right? Or vice versa. I'm 300 pounds and I'm eating like 8,000 calories. I should probably eat less food, It's one of those things where you almost have to use a lot of trial and error and just kind of see what works, but also what's sustainable, right? Don't just risk what you want, right? For long-term success for what you want right now, just see the number on the scale go down, okay? Now, that's calories. It's confusing. I know. You're probably listening to this thinking like, man, it wasn't even helpful at all. And trust me, when I make this PowerPoint presentation going over this more into detail, I think it's going to make a lot more sense. But at the end of the day, like, there's a lot that goes into play here. It's not as simple as calories in versus calories out. That could have long-term negative effects with slowing down someone's metabolism because they're losing their lean muscle tissue. Okay. The second thing that you should focus on, and I would just start with this, honestly, like have an understanding of calories and make it like specific and broad at the same time. Like give yourself some wiggle room. Like I would say monitor like, hey, between 2,000 calories to, 3,000 calories, have a big gap to wiggle room to play in and just see if that starts to work for you. The second thing is to focus on the protein. And this is very simple to understand. This is what we always recommend guys to do. The bare minimum you need is like 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Okay. Multiply that by like 2 grams. I would say that's your max. But just keep it simple. Keep it very simple. Focus on this. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, have 200 grams of protein every day. Okay. If you're 250, have 250 grams of protein every day. Now, if you're like 400 pounds, realistically, it's probably very hard for you to consume 400 grams of protein, okay? Protein's higher up on the thermic effect of food. It's more satiating, more filling. So it's going to be harder to consume that much protein. I would say if you're 200 pounds, take your goal weight. So what's your goal weight? Let's say you want to lose 100 pounds, right? You want to get down to 300 pounds. take your goal weight and multiply that by 1. Right, and that's going to give you, a good source of how much protein you should focus on, which should be 300 grams per day. Okay, that's a start. Now, once again, like most guys in general, they think it's calories in versus calories out. They have a horrible relationship with food, and they're eating next to nothing when it comes to protein. Like literally next to nothing. And so if you just focus on that calorie range that I gave you in the beginning, right? 2,000 to 3,000 calories. Just play it safe with that, honestly. But still make sure you do your average just so you have a general awareness and understanding of what you're actually consuming and eating and how your body's responding to that. Make sure you do that, But mix that with the second thing, which is your protein. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I promise you, you're going to have success. Okay? You will start seeing that number on the scale go down. But you also have to understand how metabolism works. It's not like, oh, hey, I'm going to start consuming more food because I'm eating 1,200 calories, and I'm going to start consuming more protein because I'm eating like 50 grams a day, and then don't expect to see like the number on the scale go down. You got to understand, like you didn't get fat overnight. You didn't get fat in a week. You didn't get fat in a couple weeks. Realistically, it's going to take time for your body's metabolism to catch up. So that way you can actually go back to losing body fat. Think about it like this. Realistically, you're going to have to go a few steps back in order to get 10 steps ahead in the future. That's just a realization you have to understand. It's not like you start consuming more calories and you start eating more protein. Overnight, your metabolism speeds up and you see the number on the scale drop down 5 pounds. It does not work like that. And this is why, once again, like we focus on coaching our clients to not even worry about the number on the scale. Because if they're fixated on just the number on the scale, they're going to set themselves up for sabotage and disaster and failure. And that's why we get our guys focused on elsewhere. Like, hey, how are you feeling? More energy, right? Clothes fit better? Awesome. Like more confidence? Great. That's what we want. In the beginning stages also, understand this. This is very something you got to understand. When it comes down to your metabolism, when you're consuming more food, consuming more protein that you're not used to consuming, it's very normal to feel full, bloated, lethargic, okay? But you got to be consistent with that. You got to be consistent with your nutritional habits. You can't have one day high protein, the next day low protein. Like, no. If you want your metabolism to speed up, you got to be consistent with it. And sometimes that means it's going to suck in the beginning, right? If you're feeling full, bloated, lethargic for, a few days, maybe even a few weeks. But eventually, and this will happen, you're going to start feeling hungrier. You're going to start feeling like, man, I can consume all this food now. It's very hard in the beginning, but now it's actually pretty easy. That's actually the first sign right there that your metabolism is speeding up in the right direction. Okay? So let that be a great sign that, hey, you're doing the right things. Continue doing that. The third tip is a simple one, but yet guys struggle with this big time. And that is to start drinking more water. Our body's over 60% water anyways. Your organs need water, right? Water is great for so many different principles. Not just aiding in, burning body fats, but, energy levels, brain cognitive function, like everything, right? I can't stress this enough. Drink more water. It's very simple to go on Amazon, buy like a half a gallon jug of water or buy a full gallon jug of water and just aim to drink like anywhere from bare minimum half a gallon to, let's just say, a gallon of water a day. It's that simple. But yet guys, once again, still continue to struggle with doing the simplest things. And the last tip that I want to give you is simply this one. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Like at the end of the day, it's not going to be fun, right? You got to go a few steps back in order to get to where you're trying to get to. But if you don't have an open-minded, right, realization of what's going to occur, what's going to happen, that, hey, the number on the scale is probably going to increase because you're not used to eating that much food, you're not used to eating that much protein, and if you're just like, hey, in it to see the number on the scale go down, realistically, like, you're not going to have any success. You're just not. So you got to be open-minded, and you can't give up. You got to understand it's going to be like 2-3 steps back in order to get 10, 15 steps ahead. But what's the bright side of all that? Hey, eventually your body fat's going to drop. Eventually, right, you're going to start speeding up your metabolism. You're going to start feeling hungrier. Eventually, right, you're going to start seeing the results that you want. That's it. So focus on doing that. You didn't hear me say, hey, cut out your carbs. Hey, do intermittent fasting. No, because that stuff doesn't work. It's not sustainable. Like, somebody needs to give you education. Somebody needs to give you knowledge and teach you how to do all this for your body type, your goals, and most importantly, your lifestyle. And that's what we do on a personal note when it comes to our coaching, is we help guys, by creating personalized meal plans for them and their family. That way they don't have to eat separately from their family. They can actually eat the foods that they want to eat with their family, and everybody's eating, because guess what? That's part of somebody's lifestyle. If somebody's a truck driver and they need help with, recommendations from the gas station and fast food, we're going to put that on somebody's meal plan. But at the same time, we're doing everything that we can to ensure that, hey, we're giving somebody the support that they need. Meaning, if they need adjustments, boom, we're making adjustments for them ASAP. If they're going out to eat and they want somebody to scan over their restaurant menu, boom, they know where to go on the app to message us as the coaches and tell us where they're going and send us over the link so we can scan over the restaurant menu. Simple things like that. You apply that on a personal note with also like personalized workouts for that person's body type and goals, encouragement, the community for support, you're going to see success. That's it. That's the inevitable. It's going to happen. But you got to understand this. You got to be open-minded. You have to be, you can't get to where you're trying to get to by doing the same things that got you to where you are today. And just let that sink in. You can never get the results that you truly want if you cannot apply something that is different that you're doing right now today. That's why we always focus on this. Daily habits equal success. And that's all we focus on at Heartletics. Maybe you heard the phrase, you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach a man how to fish and feed him for the rest of his life. We want to focus on teaching our members. We want to focus on teaching you how to do all this, so that way you know exactly how your body's responding, reacting, when and how to make adjustments. Because here's the thing, nobody can tell you to eat 2,000 calories and do that for the rest of your life. No, sorry. Your body's metabolism is going to adapt, right? You're going to need to know when to make adjustments, whether it's with the calories or whether it's with the macronutrients or whether that's with your training. There's all these different variables that go into play. But here's the thing, when somebody educates you and can see like how your body's responding, reacting, it's so much easier to understand, because now you don't have to do all the guesswork. Now, hey, you have full trust and faith that, hey, it's going to happen when it happens. And on top of that, you're in the best hands there are, right, to make sure that you're going to get the results you're looking for. So guys, if you want more information that can better aid in that, go check out Heartletics.com. We have a free fat loss guide, a free coaching video that goes over a step-by-step plan about how these habits can really give you all the tools and the knowledge to succeed on your fat loss journey and hopefully change your mindset. But I will say this, make sure, go to my YouTube channel. Just type in Heartletics, subscribe if you haven't already. That way you'll never miss a notification. I think you got to press the little bell icon also. That way you can stay updated, because at the end of the day, I'm always posting literally every day new videos to my YouTube channel. But on top of that, when I do come out with this PowerPoint presentation specifically for our members of Heartletics, but I'm going to record that. I'm going to put that on YouTube as well. That's going to be a good one, because I want you guys to understand a greater understanding of calories, and that there's all these different body types. There's all these different factors to come into play. And it's not as easy as just drop your calories, calories in versus calories out. There's a lot of factors that you need to understand. And once that presentation is made, I promise you this, it's going to give you more reassurance and make things a little bit easier for you. That way you feel a little bit more confident when it comes to understanding how it all works in the body. So guys, with that being said, this has been Coach Joe with the Heartletics Podcast, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.